Hey everybody, Ash Brown, founder and CEO of Empiraa, and we're here with the Cut the Fluff series, our weekly series that helps consultants just open up their world and understand how we can help consultants by bringing in different industry experts, whether it's partnership experts, whether it's branding experts, whether it's software experts, whether it's community experts. And that's that. This week is we have Steve Palmer, who is the founder and CEO of the IQ Club. So Steve, you're the best person to intro yourself and tell us all about the IQ Club. So over to you, mate.
Okay, well, thanks, Ash, for having me on. IQ Club. So maybe if I tell you how we got into the IQ Club, it'll maybe give people a broad understanding of why we're doing what we're doing. I ran a digital agency for about 7 or 8 years, and it didn't work out. It's very much you've got to keep on top of everything with the new acronyms and sell new products to clients, and that really wasn't me. We did really well with the stage that we were in, but then that sort of smoothed off. So one of the things that we did was we very much focused on the financial sector, and that's where we met a lot of really great people that were really humble, but they did wonderful things. So, for example, there was a gentleman. His name was Ash, actually, as well. He was from Mercer, and after work, he would go and educate kids about money. There was another gentleman who was a financial advisor, and what he did was he would do pro bono work for people that were like, if mum was dying, for example, and you needed to settle the estate so the kids wouldn't fight. So he would do that pro bono work. And these people were very, as I said, conservative, but they didn't tell anybody about what they were doing. And as a digital guy, I'm thinking to myself, I need to tell everybody about that, because that sets you apart from everybody else. And so that's really where the IQ Club sort of started. Is, I really like these people, but I wanted to be able to tell everybody about what they did. And so that's really how the IQ Club started. And as we went into lockdowns, we just got people sitting around a table. If they were all focusing on manufacturing, I'd get 4 or 5 of them sitting in the room. At that stage, I think that's probably the only thing that we're allowed to do. But the good thing there is that they were all selling into the same client base. So that was really how we started.
So it sort of triggered that sort of, actually, if we build a community around this, we could actually help a lot of people quickly. Is that sort of your thought process?
Yeah, it was. It was. If my thought was, if we could potentially create hubs, and the hubs might be around agriculture for people that sold into that vertical, manufacturing, supply chain, finance. That gives you a bit of an understanding of where we wanted to go. And as members came in, we would make that person the hub, and then bring other people around them so that they would build out their circle of influence effectively.
So and building out that circle of influence, you're really sort of finding ways to engage the business owners, the part of it as well. So you're obviously you're bringing in consultants as well as the business owners, or is it just and how do you sort of it's really interesting. How do you do like a business Tinder to match make those connections? Because that's a really interesting, because it's like how does a business owner swipe right on a consultant that's working at the working with the IQ Club, I suppose?
So really what would happen is that the whole thing is this, is that if you have somebody with credibility come to the group, all we did in the very early days is, who do you know that you referred to has credibility? Maybe it's an associate, a client, and just bring them into that conversation. And so what we've been able to do from that, just from that word of mouth, I trust you, come along and meet the people I know. And so really that's how we started, is building out that trust from really only a few people. And today what we're building into is who's a client today? A client today might be a business owner. They may have 2 or 3, 5 staff, but they are very specialised in what they do and supply their product in the market. You also have these partners in law firms or accounting firms that are maybe middle management, or maybe will run their own operation. And the other one would be business owners that are out in the manufacturing sector, the supply chain space, and they want the same thing too. They want to be able to be educated, and they want to collaborate with other people to be able to open up opportunity. So, and Melbourne's small enough that we're able to do that. So those are the 3 type of clients. But effectively today, what we have is all of those 3 types of people. They all sell something to somebody else.
So you're sort of effectively matchmaking a little bit, where you, because I suppose it's about sort of when you're building on an ecosystem, and people talk about ecosystems all the time, but one of the things that I think people forget about the ecosystem, and if you just do a little bit of biology, you TED biology, the most important thing about ecosystem is balance. So how do you balance the ecosystem so everything's feeding well? Because I think what happens sometimes in chambers of commerce and various other groups, that you've literally got an ecosystem that's too salespeople heavy or too consultant. I speak to a lot of consultants, and they go, "Oh, we joined the chamber of commerce," and the problem is it becomes almost every single consultant known to man joins the chamber of commerce. They go to a chamber of commerce meeting, and they're all pitching to 2 or 3 businesses that are, and they're like, they're part of a franchise or whatever, so they don't really need the consulting as much. So how do you get that sort of balance in that ecosystem that allows everything to be self-sufficient?
I'm a simple guy, and I like analogies. If you take a drop of water, you can direct that drop of water. If you show, let's say, you put the end of the spoon into the water, and you can direct it to the sinkhole as an example. That's exactly what you've got to do, is that the more people that come into that pool, the more that you have to direct that water to an outcome.
Yep.
And so really it comes back to the hub. The hub grew, and today the hub, you'll have people within the let's say the finance hub that also deal in supply chain. They might deal in ag. They may not. They might deal in construction. They might deal in other, like innovation, for example, health tech. So, but you've got to be able to move where your people want you to go. So that's the balancing act. And as we've gone further down the track, people will say, I need to see this. And so what you do is you bring in other people that they may not know, to be able to find the people that they need to see come along to these meetings. So that's a bit of a balancing act. But the exciting thing is that I don't know who I'm going to meet tomorrow.
Yep.
But people who I'm associated with, or people within the organization as well as outside, those are the ones that can bring in really quality people to show you, and then we'll show them who we are, and it's their decision of whether they stay, or whether they stay for a little while, or whether they just come once. It's really their choice.
And it's funny, I've joined various different groups over the journey of running and owning Empiraa, and it's funny because you sort of, sometimes the bigger ones, and then it's like, well, that's just really just a waste of my time. Sometimes the smaller ones is like, all right, that's a waste of my time. And it takes a while to sort of find your tribe effectively. And I think as business owners, and then also as consultants, how do you find those tribes? So it's about sort of, how do you look, effectively look for the lookers effectively. So how does sort of, like, if I'm a consultant and I'm sitting there going, okay, well, I get hit up by all these, and we don't need to name who they are. There's so many different networking groups and that sort of, and then there's also a heap of membership groups. So how have you been able to sort of to curate the IQ club to sort of suit the consultants, but then also suit the business owners. So everybody wins, if that makes sense, because that is like the hardest thing in the world, to make sure that they feel like they've found their tribe, because that's
That's
as
true.
business owners, it's the tribe's important.
I would say to you that we do a bit of outreach, and it's about finding those right people. And sometimes those people put up their hand and say, I want to be a part of it, which makes my job easier. On one hand, I always want to be able to have a relationship with the people that are on board with us, just remembering that we're currently only operating in Melbourne. We want to be able to move to other states as well. But I've got members that say, I like the group. There's a lot of quality people here. In fact, one of the greatest compliments I ever had was a lady who was a serial networker. We don't really like serial networkers, because we don't want people to feel like I want to avoid that person because I know I'm going to get hit up for something. So, but I've got people that are looking at our networking going, I like the quality of people in there, and if we grow at a certain rate, then I'm comfortable with that. But then on my side of the coin, I need to be able to always be bringing in people for others to be able to see that this is growing. So it's a real balancing act. I want quality. I don't want. And we're very selective about who we would invite on board. I need to be upfront. And for new people coming in, that'll sound excellent. That's really good. So if we might have 20 people that are brand new to us at our open invitationals, we may only reach out to 3 or 4 of those people to continue the conversation with us. And sometimes they identify themselves because they create relationships with our members and open up opportunity, which we love. But then there are other people who are unassuming, but also have maybe associated with a great company or have a great client base that we need to bring in and make them feel comfortable that, you can build this relationship with us over time, and we're not going to, it's not going to be overbearing for you. So there's a number of, it's a conundrum that you grow with quality, but not too fast. I don't want to be a 1,000-person organisation in Melbourne. I don't see the value in that. I don't want to sell subscriptions. I want my people to know that the new people that are coming along do have quality, do have credibility in the marketplace, and can open up a new opportunity for us as well.
And you just mentioned the word then, credibility, which is sort of leads me to my next point, which credibility is such a crucial asset for consultants, right? It really is, because if I'm looking for a consultant, I want to make sure that they've got credibility. How does like a community like IQ Club help build that? What's the sort of the key tent poles or the cornerstones to help that?
I only do business with people based on merit. So we've seen a lot in the marketplace focused on mediocrity as opposed to meritocracy. So we're very focused in on that as well. And I'd just say to you is that in Melbourne, and this has been the same thing over the last few years, is it's really easy to understand who's there based on merit as opposed to mediocrity, because maybe they don't do Mondays or Fridays. And that's something, if you're looking at people that are really wanting to get ahead and move forward, then they're doing Mondays and Fridays, and they're willing to get out of bed for it and take their jammies off and do so. So I'm not apologetic about that. I know that there's a lot of conversations about that at the moment, but I would say to you, those 3 tenets are probably the most important.
Yeah. And what sort of resources within the IQ Club really helps advisors really take themselves to the next level? Because a good community allows a good, well-built community. High tide raises all boats, right? So that's so how do what sort of resources, tools, the IQ Club have got to help people do that. They help advisors, consultants to take themselves to the next level. There's not transactional, by the way, because like we go, transactional, we sell a course and we do this. It's like, what do you do to actually help, take them from here to there?
So I would say that, and coming back to the point that I made before, consultants are different to advisors. Advisors are advising into businesses. Consultants are consulting to a detail within the business. So it might be a funding opportunity. That's digging down to the detail. And advisors are overseeing maybe a board position, sitting on an advisory board. So slightly different, but probably generic in an overview as well. So there are people who are consultants that would like to become advisors. And so in that regard, what we have is the IQ Academy is run up by John Canfield. John's been with Family Business, Australian Family Business Institute for many, many years. And so what we have is John's set up as 6 modules that we run people through, from Agile Advisor to Family Business Advisor. So it just takes you through the progression of those 6 modules. And you can see that on our website, on our IQ Academy page. So and people will enter in at certain phases. So somebody who is a consultant that wants to go into an advisory role, they could start with Agile Advisor. In fact, we've got our next Agile Advisor on May the 7th.
Agile.
Agile Advisor. So that's the first part of it. And then as you move, there'll be people. So we've come in touch with people who are already sitting on boards, but may need to formalize some of their learnings to go to a certain level for us to be able to assist them in their career opportunities as well. So that would be the first part, is the academy. Now, the academy broadens out from there. So we have other people that in the past, and we are talking about in the future, providing understandings around, say, EQ. And this is where this can also open up opportunity where businesses can bring their staff along to be able to help understand that as well, and how can they function better in their roles and get better outcomes as an example of that. So that's the academy side of things. But the other thing that I'd say to you is that if let's say you are an advisor and you've got a placement, then what we don't want to do is have that situation where you've got, let's say the client has a milestone they want to hit and they need funding, for example. We don't want the advisor to be able to go out there and find 3 quotes of 3 seemingly unknown organizations. If we have those people already within the IQ Club membership that can put their hand up and say, I can do that for you as well, then there's a trusted consultant, trusted member that they can always call on to be able to make that opportunity happen and happen more smoothly as well. That's maybe another situation that we can add with. So, and the other thing is resources. If I look at it another way, is that we're starting to move into opportunities where we have clients or business owners come into conversations, and we can continue that conversation with them through other events, because business owners it's a lonely world out there. We both know that. And to be able to bring them in for education and collaboration is a great thing as well. So that they want the same sort of things that our members require, which is education and collaboration. The great thing here is that as an advisor, you can strengthen the relationship at both ends through your own education, through your own wisdom, but also we can also have members support the advisor's relationship by educating their businesses or business owners, placements even, on certain matters, whether it be debt finance, HR situations, whether it be employment law, government grants, that sort of thing. So really what we're doing is I don't want to use tried and true and overdone terminologies, but certainly we're looking for best of breed so that we can educate and really complete the ecosystem that we're currently building. So those are just a few resources that we can refer to.
Yeah, and it's important. Like, I suppose if you're a consultant or an advisor and you're looking to join a networking group, or a professional community, which probably part of it leads me to probably my next question is, what's the difference really between sort of the traditional networking group and a professional community? Because we get offered all the time, so it'd be good to understand sort of your sort of definitions of what makes the key differences between traditional networking and or a professional community like IQ Club.
That's an interesting thing. Sometimes it can just be the intangible, and I'll give you an example. Is that I heard a story just very recently of there was a meeting with quite a number of people, and there was maybe 8 IQ Club members within that group meeting. And when the IQ Club members turned up, it was a hug and a kiss, and it was different. And other people noticed that in the room. So like, what's happening over there? And it's, I don't know. What we're endeavouring to do. It's funny because my wife and I, we don't have children, but what we've done is we've found an extended family. It comes back to the original thing that I spoke about before, which was I ran a business previously, and I was a very angry sort of guy. But then I discovered that I actually really like people. And so when people step in the room, you go out of your way to, not because of anything, but you want to make them feel comfortable in that home. Yeah, it's like when you invite them into your own home, have a cup of tea, have a cup of coffee, here's a bicky, whatever it may be. And it's really the same when you're inviting them along to an open to meet, the other 50 people in the room. It's about building. It is a community, but it's more than that. It's good to do life with the people that you're doing business with, because they're actually really nice people. And so when I hear some of my members that they get in and do a lunch every say second month, and it's really nice to know that that's happening. I'll never get invited into that room, but I'm not asking to be. But they've found a really good friendship that they have formed together. And it's not talking about business, but it's talking about, hey, the frustrations of where I'm at. This is my family life at the moment. And, it's just chewing the fat. And that could be the greatest thing that happens from it, is you are doing life with people, not just business people. It's not about the deal. It's about actually growing with the people that are around you. So it's a really interesting dynamic that we've created. I would just say that there's a lot of really positive stories that I hear, but sometimes I don't get to hear them because people are busy. But the ones that I do hear are really encouraging.
And what's the sort of top tips for someone looking for, if I'm a consultant or advisor, I'm looking for a networking group or a community, what's your sort of top tips? What should they look for?
Advantage. I'd be looking at that. What can an organisation provide you that is in line with your values? There are, so if I just look at it another way, there are 2 sorts of advisors we get to see. There are just looking at advisors, consultants that are stepping into that space. With advisors, there are people that are looking for opportunity, but there are other advisors that already have gigs going, they're already making money, and they're just looking for something more, or they're looking to be able to build out that opportunity a little bit more. So I would say to you that one's a little bit nervous because they're just looking for the opportunity, the next placement. What I want to say to you is that you really, if you can find somebody that digs a little bit deeper into providing placement, one of the things I find that is an issue with advisors is that they are great at advising, but not great at not opening doors. And the thing that we offer is an opportunity for our membership to be able to open doors for them. As long as the communication is right and you can articulate who you're looking for, that's a great source of opportunity for them. But on the other side of the coin, what we're endeavoring, you've asked me to answer that question is, who's opening doors for you and who's providing introductions and placement for you at the other end? And so those are, at both ends, you're going to be able to ask people to be able to open opportunities for you. So that's who you need to find, is who's providing introductions and who's providing a placement for you.
Perfect. And probably the last big one, which I wanted to tackle this one last, sort of looking at the future state of communities and for advisories. How do you see the role of professional communities, evolving to help the next generation of advisors and consultants?
Yeah.
I thought I'd leave the big one, the big nugget, to last.
Well, so you're talking about the next generation. That's a really interesting one. And that's something that we're getting more and more focused in. We've got a lot of our members are, say 35 plus, a little bit probably, closer to the 40 to plus. And there's a lot of wisdom in the room, and they really do have a heart to be able to share with the next generation as they're coming up about how they should walk their career out. And so that's something that we're very much considering, how we can bring those people along. There's a real concern about the younger people, and what we'd like to be able to do is help them walk a path that's a little straighter than where they're going right now. Communication's a bit of a challenge for them, but there's a lot of wisdom in the room here for our advisors to be able to share with other people. So it's not something that we've formulated at the moment, because we've got other things that we're very much focusing on. We really want to be able to get the conversations happening with advisors and placement, and we've created a marketing program to be able to attract the business owners. But also that ecosystem needs to include the advisors and our members. So our members may be consultants, as I mentioned before. They may be people that are business owners. But I would say to you, that's really what we're looking to do right now. And what I would also say is that as a value add for our advisors, well, we're using Empiraa, so let's just say that straight out, because we see that there's a great value in setting those milestones for a placement between what the business owner says, this is what I want to achieve over the next term, but Empiraa enables us to be able to validate those relationships for them and charge more money for those relationships. But the other thing is, I'll say to you, if I could just throw it in there, is that there's no reason why we can't extend a 3-way to a 4-way forecast, and that is based on the character of the person. And then in that regard, we can find a banking partner, which we're hoping that the conversation that we're currently having will develop further, to then be that 4-way forecast where they can tick some boxes internally for that character reference component, which is so important that probably gets missed by a lot of the big four. And that can enable the business owner to be able to achieve a goal, hit a milestone that our advisor can also be a part of. And so it validates the advisor relationship, and also, as I said, it enables them to be able to charge accordingly.
Yeah. No, that's Steve, a massively enlightening chat about the power of community for consultants and advisors, how to professional services, and how to actually get that balance right, and actually how to find an actual community that actually enhances you, but you can enhance the community. So that's really, really important. It's we use the, I use it a couple of times. The give take, give get, effectively, not take. Take anything you receive. So for me, it's been really enlightening. We've known each other for a while through a lunch, through a common connection, Daniel Caligieri, who's actually going to come on and talk about advisory and exit planning and that sort of stuff in the next few weeks, which is great. So I want to just thank you once again, Steve. And just, if you want to just where can people find the IQ Club? Where can people find you? The floor is yours to plug away.
Oh, okay. Well, best way to find us is probably go to our LinkedIn page. You can go to our website, iqclub.com.au, and you can find out a little bit about the IQ Academy and also what we do. But we've got events happening all the time. If you were to also go to the LinkedIn page, you can see one of our upcoming open events, which is Pursue the Prize, and you can register there. So I'm very happy for people to do that. We want, or my members want to meet you, and I'm serious about that. They want to build out their circle of influence, and they want to start doing what they want to do, life with people that are on the same level as them, which is a great thing. So that's all I'm here to do, is just create events for our members to be able to advance their careers. So
that's amazing. Yeah. That's the best. That's the best thing. You just want to help people, and I mean that's what businesses.
It's a fun job. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. So I thank you for allowing me to come on today.
No. It's great. As well, you're one of the ones we reach out to first. So, Steve, I definitely want to thank you for coming on board. As usual for Empiraa, if you want to find out more about how Empiraa can help you get real-time visibility across your client strategies, feel free to jump on empiraa.com or check us out on LinkedIn. We've got contacts all everywhere. We're not hard to find these days. But yeah, we're starting to really get some really strong footholds here in the US, which is fantastic. So, and we're glad to partner with the IQ Club. So, thank you once again, Steve. This has been an enlightening chat, and we'll speak soon.